Hello, soldiers. Professor Frontman here. Today we're going to talk about the interesting and intense topic of brainwashing. In this video, we'll break down how brainwashing works, the tricks used, and the serious effects it can have on people. We'll look at how brainwashing is different for individuals and groups, and go over the steps of breaking down and rebuilding a person's identity. Let's dive in and learn how manipulators use these methods to control and influence their victims. The process of brainwashing. Brainwashing can be different when used on individuals versus groups. Let's start by discussing these differences. It all begins with the victim's mental state and social circumstances, which are crucial for brainwashing to work. Not everyone can be brainwashed. It usually targets people with a void in their lives, often due to trauma or loss. For example, some Western men who became terrorists in Syria did so after losing a close friend or relative, looking for meaning in their disrupted lives. The brainwasher finds a suitable victim and starts the brainwashing process. Contrary to popular belief, brainwashers are not aggressive psychopaths. Instead, they are usually calm and rational. They create trust and rapport by finding or faking common ground with their victims, such as sharing similar experiences or enjoying the same food or drink. Brainwashers also give gifts and favors, like meals, drinks, or electronics, to make the victim feel grateful and in debt. For instance, captured American troops during war might receive American-made cigarettes and respectful conversation from their captors, making them more open to brainwashing. Next, the brainwasher presents a perfect solution to the victim's problems in a casual way, avoiding pressure and making it easier for the victim to accept. This solution matches the ideology or personality the brainwasher wants to instill, whether it's terrorism, communism, or just for their own amusement. The impact of brainwashing. Now, let's look at the impact of brainwashing. Brainwashing is a powerful process with lasting effects. One of the most severe outcomes is the loss of identity. The victim becomes detached from their old self, doing things they would never have done before. It's as if their old self no longer exists. The victim's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors change dramatically. Another major effect is post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Those who manage to escape brainwashing often show the same psychological and physical symptoms as war veterans, highlighting the deep impact of brainwashing. A long-term effect of brainwashing is seen in cases where victims, even after being freed, return to their brainwashers. This behavior is known as Stockholm Syndrome. Victims continue to praise and justify their brainwashers and the ideas implanted in them during their captivity. Brainwashing tactics. Next, let's dive into the tactics used in brainwashing. Isolation. Isolation means keeping someone away from people or places. Brainwashers use this tactic to prevent others from interfering with their process. They isolate victims from friends, family, and peers to change the way they think. Fear and dependence. Fear is a powerful tactic in brainwashing. Brainwashers use fear to ensure obedience and loyalty. They can threaten harm to enforce the new identity they want to create. Love bombing. Love bombing involves the brainwasher creating a sense of family by bonding emotionally and sharing things with the victim. This makes it easier to implant ideas and create a new personality. Guilt. The brainwasher makes the victim believe that everything they do is wrong and that they are a bad person. Guilt creates doubt in the victim's beliefs and makes them seek redemption. Repetition. Repetition makes people more likely to accept a message. If someone hears the same opinion enough times, they are more likely to believe it. Brainwashers use repetition to convince their victims. Routine rituals. Brainwashers change the victim's routine to help them assume a new identity. They create new routines for the victim to follow. Physical activities. Brainwashers control the victim with tiring activities. Unlike sports, these activities aim to exhaust the victim, making it easier to implant ideological beliefs during moments of low resistance. Steps of brainwashing. Now, let's move on to the steps of brainwashing. Breaking down of self. The first step in brainwashing is breaking down the person's old identity, making them more open to a new one. The agent attacks the subject's sense of self, using guilt and self-betrayal until the subject reaches a breaking point. If the subject holds on to their old identity, the agent's efforts are less effective. Possibility of salvation. After breaking down the subject's self, the agent moves to the next step. The subject can only be saved By rejecting their old self and beliefs and accepting the new ones offered, they are assured that everything will be okay if they follow the new path. This phase includes 4 steps: leniency, compulsion to confess, channeling of guilt, and release of guilt, rebuilding of self. By this stage, the subject has gone through emotional turmoil and is convinced they need to change their beliefs. The agent then helps the subject rebuild their identity, introducing new ideas or concepts. The subject, now a clean slate, is eager to learn how to feel better and be better. And that's it, soldiers. We've explored how brainwashing works, the tricks used, and the deep impact it has on people. By knowing about these techniques, you can better protect yourself and others from being controlled. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe for more insights. This is Professor Frontman, signing off. Stay strong, soldiers.